So, Kevin, what did you think of Governor Hochul saying this is like a unique one and done because Donald Trump went too far and was so nefarious? You guys, if you're just doing what you should be doing, you have nothing to worry about. But they're very worried about it.
Yeah, we're very worried. Every investor's worried because where is the victim? Who lost money? I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. New York was already a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No. And that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state? This is some arbitrary decision a judge made. This policy and what this says, what does this say about the bar, the legal bar in New York? Aren't they going to question this judge? What is this? $355 million and there's dollars as a penalty, and there's plus interest at 9%, and there's no victim? I mean, I'm sorry, her words fall on deaf ears to everybody. There's nothing she can say to justify this decision. And this has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Forget about Trump. This is not a Trump situation. This is a New York problem now. The whole world is looking at this saying, what are you doing to yourselves?
Good morning, Patriots. This is Trucker Jake. Let's talk about the New York City trucker boycott. Of course, overnight, liberals all have become experts on the trucking industry. They all know logistics forward and backwards. Well, we're all going to lose our jobs. We're all going to be replaced by AI. Here's the thing. We have a deficit in this country of 85,000 truck drivers. You want to do AI? Bring it. We could use the help. But it's not going to happen in my lifetime. It's not going to happen in your lifetime. It's not going to happen in your grandkids' lifetime. And then you're going to say, oh, the illegals, they're going to take your jobs. Really? The illegals? They can't pass a background check, can't pass a drug screening, and then you got the language barrier. What insurance company is going to hire someone who cannot pass a background check? So anyway, truckers, you're safe. Those of you truckers who have to work, totally get it. You do you. No one's going to eat your lunch if you're not going to, be part of the boycott. But those of you who are part of the boycott, God bless you. This is Trucker Jake. God bless President Trump. God bless MAGA America. God bless you truckers out there, and y'all have it.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, back at it again. Today I'm checking out a video on the New York trucker boycott. Before we get into the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. AskWiseToday@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me. And we must have a quick word from our sponsor, Young G's Barbecue Sauce.
Young G's Barbecue Sauce. American.
Use some Young G's barbecue sauce today. Link down in the description box below. Support a service-disabled, veteran-owned organization. Not only is this barbecue sauce good, it's good for you. Gluten-free, low in sodium, and absolutely no high fructose corn syrup. Give me 1 second. Let me slide the video in. Without further ado, let's go.
I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that.
New York has become a legal banana republic.
But before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will win the presidency. I will be doing things that will be amazing.
Truckers for Trump is trending right now.
Heard that there were going to be 700,000 truck drivers protesting.
3.5 million drivers employed in 2022. That sounds about right to you?
That's correct.
Somewhere in there. Okay. I look at that number. That's a big number, Craig. And we deal with politics here in this town and on this show. Do you have a sense from within your industry? Because I know this Truckers for Trump is trending right now.
Some truck drivers say they're
The impact of this potential boycott could be devastating for the city of New York if those guys actually follow through. Kevin O'Leary said it. New York is a loser state when it comes to business. Since 2020, over 160 companies have fled the state of New York, a lot of them going to Texas and the state of Florida. Think about that. 160 companies. That means the jobs that those companies had are gone. Not only New York had the opportunity to be Amazon's second headquarters, they couldn't get a deal done there. New York is turning into one of the worst states in the country. It's right up there with the state of California. New York Attorney General Letitia James sued President Donald Trump in 2022 for inflating his net worth on his annual financial statements to receive favorable loans from banks, notably including Deutsche Bank. This is an unprecedented case like no other. No other case has ever been brought forth like this. It's insane. And then to not have a jury trial and have the judge charge former President Donald Trump $355 million. $355 million, despite zero evidence of any banks losing money. There is no victim in this crime. No victim. It's mind-boggling to me, the measures that these people are taking to bring this man down. You should be afraid because you could be next.
Planning on refusing shipments to and from New York City.
It's a sad thing. It's a sad day for New York. They really do. Look, I love this city and I love this state.
Well, some of President Trump's supporters are pushing back against what they see as an unfair justice system, threatening a boycott that could have a major impact on the country's largest city. Some truck drivers say they're planning on refusing shipments to and from New York City.
Some of these truckers saying, you know what? We're not going into New York because of what happened to Donald Trump. If I'm just anybody living in New York and I see that headline and you hear what that woman said off the top of the show, should they be concerned?
Dre, what could...
I want to remind you guys, no one lost a dollar. Not only did no one lose anything, the quote unquote victims actually made money. Not only did they make money, they said they made handsome profits. So the bank did not file charges or press charges against President Donald Trump. There hasn't been a bank to do it. Attorney General Letitia James takes it upon herself to sue. Think about that. All the crime going on in New York City, but yet she's spending her time on a situation where no one lost money. No one actually filed charges or pressed charges. And the people that he was doing business with made money. Everybody made money all the way around. And the bank said that they actually have a process of doing their own due diligence. It's not abnormal for people to prop up the assets that they own and make them seem like they're worth more than what they actually are. But that's why the banks have a process where they do due diligence. No different than if you sell your home. You could ask for $500,000 for your home, but when that individual comes to buy it, they're going to have some home inspectors come in there and check it out, and they're going to appraise your home. And then based off of that appraisal, that is what the bank, when it comes to lending anyway, will say, this is how much money I will lend you for this home. It's just business. It's the American way. It's capitalism. This is ridiculous.
This boycott due to prices, not just in New York, but for all of us across the country?
Well, certainly if truck drivers were to boycott New York City, the impact has the potential to be very damaging and very quickly. We're talking about supermarkets, big box stores, and other businesses that rely heavily on trucking. They would feel the pinch, and so would their customers. About 90% of communities here in New York City rely heavily on trucking to move their goods. This morning, we're on the Jersey side of the George Washington Bridge, and every day you can see hundreds, if not thousands, of trucks crossing the bridge from Jersey into the city. Meanwhile, one man is now telling truck drivers not to come to New York City after former President Trump was hit with that massive multi-million-dollar fine last week.
It's a sad thing. It's a sad day for New York. They really do. Look, I love this city and I love this state. They have to focus on violent crime that's taking place outside. I look outside, I look at the streets. It's so different from when I left New York. It's so different. It's dirty and it's crime-ridden. And today you walk down the street and you get mugged or you get shot. You have a new form of crime now. You have migrant crime. Migrants are trying to beat up our police officers. They're trying to do things that we've never seen before, actually. We are going to have a problem with, I call it Biden migrant crime, because you have millions of people came into this place, this country that has been so badly hurt, and they're doing things that nobody's ever seen before. So you have violent migrant crime, and they're after me for doing nothing wrong. This time they have something that's really down and dirty that frankly, no country does other than a third world country, a banana republic.
I've been on the radio talking to drivers for about the last hour 15 minutes. And I'm talking to at least 10 drivers going the other way. I'm heading down from Southern Wisconsin. And they're going to start refusing loads in New York City starting on Monday.
Yeah, the man calls himself Chicago Ray, and as of last night, his post on X, formerly Twitter, had garnered more than 6 million views and 60,000 likes. Former President Trump also called
the truckers, they're not respected. It's a blue collar gig, and we know how the Democrats, we know how the elites feel about blue collar workers. We know how they feel about working class individuals. We already know those people that are the elites, they could care less about working class, blue collar, hardworking individuals. They could care less, but I bet they'll care if those goods and services or those goods don't stop making it up to New York. Now, I'm not saying that this should happen, because it's unfortunate that the government of New York policies and tactics are going to affect the people in New York. The regular citizens who had absolutely nothing to do with this, but it's them that's going to have to feel the burn from the tactics that these corrupt politicians have implemented. It's really sad. Now, I'll say this. If the truckers really wanted to do something, I'm not advocating for it. But especially if you're bringing goods from the South, you're bringing goods from the West, if they just so happen to get on that George Washington Bridge, or just so happen while they're in the Holland Tunnel, the truck just stopped working. Not one, but 2 or 3 or 10, right there on the bridge, right there at in the Holland Tunnel. It would shut things down, even if they just shut it down for a day or two. Now, I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying, imagine the damage. Nothing in, nothing out. Even if it was just for a day. Goodness gracious. Woo.
Of what Chicago Ray is doing, and reposted Ray's video on his platform Truth Social. But it's hard to ascertain exactly how many drivers are answering his call and what kind of impact it may have. It's not an organized effort, and the drivers expressing support for Chicago Ray, they're scattered all across the country. We did reach out to the Teamsters Union, the union representing many truck drivers, but did not get a response. We also contacted and tried to call at least the National Supermarket Association, which is based here in New York City, but did not get a response. Meanwhile, Chicago Ray says he and other truckers are irate over Judge Arthur Engoron's fining former President Trump more than $355 million for fraud. Ray, like the former president, believes it's a form of election interference. Meanwhile, we talked to one driver who says she's joining the movement to boycott New York City, and she says if things go as planned, the city could pay a big price.
We've got Kevin O'Leary back with us, O'Leary Ventures chairman, Shark Tank investor. You know, Kevin, you had mentioned, and it was a very profound kind of comment, that, you know, some of these other businesses do have right to be concerned, whether they like Donald Trump or not. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Well, this award, I mean, just leaving the whole Trump thing out of it and seeing what occurred here, and I'm no different than any other investor. I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. And so let me give you a real.
Not at all. What Governor Hochul gets up there and say, this is just a one-off, you know, Donald Trump, you know, he's a bad guy, so forth and so on. But if you are a business person, if you are a real estate investor, if you're someone that does business development, real estate development, why would you go to New York? and do anything along those lines. This case right here, if it actually goes through past the appeal and the judge, I believe his name is Ingeron, if that case stands, that case now sets precedents in the state of New York. So now they could literally bring up anybody that's a real estate investor that does something similar. That individual could look at massive fines because this case sets precedents. That's what they don't want to tell you. When a case like this happens, now every lawyer will look at this case and say, hey, we got a conviction on this case. We can go after this guy based on what happened in this particular case. Wake up, people. Wake up. If you did not know this, you know now.
Time experience I'm having regarding this, and I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state. Like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that.
Some of these truckers saying, you know what, we're not going into New York because of what happened to Donald Trump. If I'm just anybody living in New York and I see that headline and you hear what that woman said off the top of the show, should they be concerned?
No, not at all. Freightways has been around since 2017. We've covered dozens of quote unquote boycotts and protests among truck drivers. They never amount to anything, especially not now. One of the folks on the panel mentioned that there is a truck driver shortage. That has been debunked on multiple occasions. The fact is that the trucking industry has too much capacity, and the industry is really struggling from a significant downturn, and we're not going to see truck drivers give up the opportunity to make money simply because of some political stance that they want to take. But in theory, couldn't social media news.
In theory, couldn't independent owner operators stop what they're doing, right? Like if you're working for a company and they say drive that truck to New York, you're driving that truck to New York or you're getting fired, I presume, or suspended or whatever. But if you own your own truck and you say, you know what, I don't like what happened to Donald Trump, I'm not going to New York, in theory, I guess that could happen, right?
In theory, it could happen, but we've also looked at multiple of these boycotts and protests, and in theory, they sound great on paper. Not less than 2 weeks ago, we heard that there were going to be 700,000 truck drivers in southern Texas protesting the border crisis that's down there. It simply is not going to happen. There is going to be very little impact to freight flows. We have covered, like I said, dozens of boycotts since 2017, and there have yet to be any issues of consumers getting access to goods. This is nothing more than social media noise. It's not going to have an impact, mark my words.
He hopes not. Now, we know what time it is when it comes to dealing with these people. We already know. Right now, they said there seems to be 20 to 25% of drivers that are refusing loads, any loads, up to New York State. That's out there already. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. They get paid to lie. So you take what he has to say with a grain of salt, to be honest with you. Let me know what your thoughts are, man. Are you guys in support of these truckers? It's a sad day when the government is wielding their power the way that they're wielding it. This case right here sets precedents. You wait until they come for you. I hear all the time there's a lot of people want to get into real estate investment and so forth and so on. You'll be trying to operate in the same manner. This is a case that could set precedents, not only in the state of New York, but a case that could set precedents all across the country, potentially. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Keep God first in your life, and I'll catch up with y'all next time. Peace.